Hey everybody, it's Craig Pruitt here with Think Media. It's Black Friday season. Hooray, we love Black Friday here at Think Media. And also Black Friday is like no longer just a one-day event. It's like a full-on week-long event for most e-commerce sites now. And Amazon is one of those, of course, and it's probably even the best in a lot of ways. It almost always has specifically the best price on tech for creators year round, especially, but also on Black Friday in particular. So today in this live stream, we have a bunch of great tech picks for Black Friday week. So it's like a week now. It's not just like 1 or 2 days. And so today I'm also joined by the one and only Nathan Swella here. He is a content creator for the Think Media team and our editor as well. So Nate, welcome to
Right.
the stream. How you doing, man?
Doing wonderful. I'm actually pretty excited about these deals this year because I think there's some great ones. There's also things that I just reviewed that are on sale, which is pretty exciting. So, first of all, before we dive in, I would love to know where everyone is watching from. Go ahead and leave that in the comments down below. Be happy to see that.
I
But,
love it.
Craig, should we just dive straight in, or does any last words from you?
Yeah, let's do it, man. A couple notes for this stream. Make sure you stick around for the end because we're going to open it up to some Q&A time to answer any tech-related questions. So you can, of course, drop some comments along the way in the chat, and we're going to try to answer as many as we can along the way. But we'll set aside, 15, 20 minutes at the end to do some dedicated question answering for you guys who have any tech questions. So with that, we have about 40 tech items that we've hand curated for you for this stream. We're going to go through a big list. And if you want to go even deeper, you can visit thinktechguide.com, where we have a bunch of handpicked setups for a bunch of different types of creator setups. So go to thinktechguide.com and you can check out even more great holiday deals for creators. But without further ado, let's dive into our first category of items, which are going to be camera setups. And Nate's going to go ahead and start that for us there.
Absolutely. Let's dive straight into it. So, what I want to talk about first is the DJI Osmo Action. This is a camera I just reviewed. At the time of shooting the video, it was $250. Now it's $209. This is pretty incredible little camera. I have one right here. Yes, there is the Osmo Action 5, which is brand new, but honestly, the Action 4 is pretty sweet and you can shoot 4K, 120 frames per second. You got a little flip out screen up front. Well, not flip out screen, just a front facing screen. So you can see yourself as you're vlogging or whatnot. I really do enjoy using this camera. And at 30% off a killer deal of $290, I don't think you can go wrong with this little action camera. It also makes like a perfect gift for someone because let's say they're even a full on YouTuber. You can use this for a little behind the scenes and capturing moments on the go. So I'm a really
Absolutely.
big fan of this camera.
And for $209, I mean, that's an incredible deal for such a great action camera, man. I mean, I love that thing.
Yeah, it's not even a couple years old and it's still, yeah, crazy deal.
Yep.
Moving on to our next camera, I also reviewed recently. It's the OBS Bot Meet 2 4K webcam. So many of us, we're doing live streamings like we're doing right now, and the built-in webcam on our little laptops are not nearly as good. Some of them are not even like 1080p, but this one is 4K. It's $129, but you can actually apply a $20 coupon. So $109, 4K. There's also some cool like modes which you can use for like AI framing. So if you move, it'll kind of like crop in and zoom onto you. I don't necessarily use those features. I like just to plug it in, use it with my laptop. But this looks pretty good. And if you want a further in-guide depth on this, you can
Yeah.
actually check out our video on best budget cameras under 300. This is the first one I talk about.
So I saw in the review you did of this, several people commented, were like, so who is this exactly for? Like, why wouldn't I
Mhm.
just use my built-in webcam on my computer? Like, how much better is the image quality? What are your thoughts on this?
I think this is a significant upgrade if you're just wanting something plug and play. Let's say you maybe are not familiar with plugging in a mirrorless camera, getting a capture card. You just plug this in USB-C directly into your laptop or your computer, and the image quality is much, much better than the built-in laptop. You're getting, obviously, it's a little bit bigger than a normal webcam, so you're going to get like a larger sensor. It's going to look better. I think the colors look a lot better too, and just much sharper. So if you're doing a lot of live streams like we're doing right now, you could just pick up this up for a little over $100 and just instantly improve the video quality of your videos
Yeah,
without
that's great.
necessarily having to rely on, you know, a whole mirrorless setup, which could be overkill for
Yeah,
some.
it'd be great for traveling. Like if you're a travel,
Yeah.
business
Yeah.
person, you're a coach or something, and you just want like a really easy solution. Throw it in your travel bag, your backpack, your, suitcase, whatever, and then you have a elevated camera solution. So that's great, Nate. Thanks for sharing that, man.
Absolutely.
What's our
Moving on,
next
we got
camera?
we're
Oh,
gonna dive into a few different Sony ones. The Sony ZV-1F. Craig, you just had a video go live on
heyo.
this little guy.
Man, the
Talk about it.
ZV-1F. I love this camera in a lot of ways. In other ways, there's some drawbacks for it. But the main thing about it that's so intriguing to people is the price point, obviously. So this is the cheapest camera that Sony currently makes in their, like good camera lineup. They have some really, really budget cameras that aren't really relevant anymore, but in their quality cameras, the ZV-1F would be the entry level camera, and it's on sale for $100 off, which is kind of crazy. I'd say the main thing you want to consider is autofocus performance. And so this does have a little bit of like focus hunting because it uses an older contrast detect autofocus system, which can hunt for focus a time or two. So we actually, I think this morning did that video go live? I think it did go live this morning, a
Yes,
full on
just this
dedicated
morning.
review. Yeah. Of the ZV-1F. So watch that video, check it out. This might be the right camera for you depending on who you are. So yeah, I mean, I like it. I actually like the image quality a lot. I think it looks really good, but there are some autofocus issues. If you're somebody who like needs
Mm.
tack sharp focus all the time,
Mhm.
then this,
Because it's a contrast base versus phase
yeah,
detect. If you
versus
just
phase
fancy
detect.
words, all that means is like it's still gonna focus on you, but it might be a little bit slower and maybe a little less reliable. But
Yeah,
probably in your use, it's probably been decent for a lot of
it has.
people.
It has.
And then it
And
has a flip out screen so you can like frame yourself. That's
yep,
huge.
you can view yourself.
4K video. I mean,
4K,
there
yep,
you
up
go.
to 30 frames per second. It has USB-C streaming, but it does
Nice.
limit the
Yeah.
USB-C streaming feature to 720p. I don't know why
Okay.
Sony does this on several of their
Interesting.
camera models. It's kind of weird, but you can stream through HDMI as well, and then get a higher resolution and
And
that
this one
way.
has a
But
fixed 20mm lens, right?
yep, fixed 20 millimeter lens, and that was the big complaint. The reason why they even put out this camera was because the original ZV-1 had a 24 to 70 lens, and everybody thought like, hey, 24 is great, but it's not
Mhm.
wide enough for vlogging. Like you need a wider field of view if you're going to stick the camera out and hold it. So that's why they created the ZV-1F with a fixed 20 millimeter lens that's a little bit wider for creators. So everybody loved that, and then they even created a wider focal length for the ZV-1 Mark II, which I think starts at like 18 millimeters or something. But
Mhm.
anywho, it's a really solid beginner camera for a lot of people if you want to check it out for sure. What's our
Love that.
next camera on this list?
So we got in Sony A7 III, which is a little bit older of a camera now, but you get a full frame sensor, 4K video, $1,300. Craig, take it away because you've used
Man,
this camera a lot. Tell us
okay.
about it.
Yeah, the A7 III, I mean, it takes me way back. I did a lot of professional work with that camera. I went on tour with artists. I shot a ton of concerts. That's what I would do. I would like shoot concerts in my younger years in my youth. But I brought the A7 III as like my main workhorse for both photography and video.
Mm,
So really, I mean, there's not really any excuse as to why somebody couldn't use the A7 III as their main professional camera. I mean, I did for many years, and I think it's solid in a lot of ways. That I'd say the number one con with the A7 III, if you are a video shooter in particular, is it does still have the 30-minute record limit that was
okay.
instituted. It was lifted, I believe, in 2020. So any camera, Sony camera, like after 2020, I think starting with like the A7S III was like the first main flagship Sony camera not to have that record limit. Now all these cameras don't really have those record limits. So long as it doesn't overheat. But the A7 III had a limit. Now you could record to like a monitor, like an Atomos Ninja monitor or
Mm.
something, if you wanted to work around that 30-minute record limit, which I had to do as a professional video creator. But that 30-minute limit will be a drawback for some people. But if you're a professional photographer, this camera is outstanding in so many ways.
Yeah, I think it would be good for like hybrid if you're doing photography because you have the viewfinder. There is no flip out screen, so if you're filming yourself, it might be
Yes.
difficult.
Yeah, that is a little tricky.
No 10-bit video, so if you're really color grading your footage, that's another limitation. But if you don't need those things, That's a pretty significant saving.
Yeah,
So pretty
$1,300
dope.
brand new. I mean, you're getting a
Yeah.
great sensor, a great photo and hybrid video camera. So yeah, I like the A7 III. I always have.
Awesome. Let's go ahead and move on to our next camera, which is the beloved Sony ZV-E10, the
Yep,
original.
the OG.
15% off, $600 for the body only. Now, Craig, tell us about this camera. We've recommended it for
Yeah.
years here at Think Media.
Well, at Think Media, this is still our top recommended camera that we recommend for beginners. And so more people actually purchase this camera through our, affiliate links. We can track this and we just see that this is resonating really well with people. It's solving their problem, right? So they're looking for an entry-level camera that gets good image quality, that has good autofocus, and can also take stills. And the ZV-10 just does all of those things really well. And again, it's still on the 8-bit sensor of the older A60, A6000 series cameras. So some people speculate that this sensor is as old as like the A6000,
Wow.
if not like the A6300, A6500. So this is a pretty old sensor, all things considered. But at the end of the day, it still produces really good results. And I know, I mean, Nate, I think you're currently using this as like a top-down camera for your. It might even
Yeah,
literally
so
be in the
right back
shop behind
here
you.
is my YouTube studio setup, which I'm going to do a full video breaking this down. So be sure to subscribe and stay tuned for that.
Yep.
But this little thing I use as a top-down overhead angle. So anytime I'm like filming unboxings or product videos, like it's all set up. I just got to turn it on and press record and have a perfect top-down angle.
Yeah.
And
It's a
for
beautiful
that,
camera.
like it's perfect. Like, I don't need to worry about 10-bit or anything like that. I just need a good camera that can autofocus. And yeah, still reliable.
Yep.
And honestly, at $600 brand new is pretty competitive because I think used these are like 500. I mean, I would buy it brand new for 600. That's
Yeah,
pretty
I would too.
pretty
Yeah,
sweet.
on the used markets, you can pick them up for around 500. That's actually
Mhm.
this is it right here, ZBE10. I got this for $500 body only off of Facebook Marketplace. But typically it's between like 5 to 550, 575. So if you could just get it brand new for 598, like I'd probably recommend that. You know you're not going to have any issues and it's a brand new camera. And you can try it out and if you didn't love it, like Amazon has great return policies and you could return it. But I doubt you would do that because it is such a good camera.
And I'll just notice too, like anything you buy now is returnable up to January 31st. So you have a large return
Yes.
window. You could use this for a few months and be like, no, it's not for me, and still return it. So
Yep. That's
pretty
great.
good. Next camera on our list. These are some more expensive cameras, but if you're looking for a solid camera, this might be the time to buy one. The Sony FX3. This one we use for more professional setups at Think Media for the Think Media podcast.
Yep.
This is really like Sony's best mirrorless video camera. You have, oh man, it's endless 4K 120. You have an XLR top handle that comes included, I believe.
Yep.
So
It
really
does.
super professional, 10-bit video,
Hmm.
15 stops of dynamic range. We can nerd out about this camera, but
Yeah.
they shot movies with this camera. And that's just
Yep.
how good this video sensor
Yep,
is
the
and how
movie
you
The
want to use it.
Creator was just shot with primarily with this camera. It's like I
Yeah.
think they said like 85 to 90% of shots of that film were with
Yeah.
the FX3, which is
Great low
wild. I
light
mean,
performance. Yeah. So
yeah,
it's like you can go up to 12,800. So if you're doing low light work, I mean, this is the camera to get. Now, Craig, you use this for your main setup. Is that right?
I do. Yeah, actually, literally right now, that is the camera I have for this stream. So that's the image you see of myself. And the reason I bought this camera many years ago was because of doing professional video production work. So anytime I have a client that wants, a corporate video marketing something or even a wedding film if I'm producing one, this is my go-to camera of choice. It's just there's not really any flaw with the camera, to be
Mhm.
honest, other than the fact that it actually can take photos, but it's not a great photo camera at all. It's like
Yeah,
a,
there's no like viewfinder. Like if
yeah.
you're doing photography, there's some better options like the A7S III, which I'm shooting with right now. It's the
Yep.
same sensor and everything, so you get the same image quality, just a different form factor
Yeah.
for more professional
Yes.
video.
Much easier to take photos with the A7S III for sure than the
Yeah.
FX3. But yeah, I mean, if you are a professional video creator, you probably already know about the FX3. It's outstanding in basically every regard, but comes at that premium price tag, like we said,
Yeah.
So
And if you're
yeah.
looking for the same functionality but in a cheaper price point, you could look at the Sony FX30, which is $1,600 right now. And the only difference is it's a slightly smaller sensor, but like it's APS-C. It's still fantastic. Same exact body, form
Yep.
factor. You have 4K, 60 frames per second, I
Yep.
believe. Yeah,
Yep.
so
I think
virtually on
actually it
the
has 120 with maybe an additional crop as well. I'd have to
okay,
fact
yeah.
check myself on that, but I believe it can do 4K 120. It might just I think it does an additional 1.5x on the already crop sensor when you shoot in 120.
Yeah. I
So
mean, it's very little difference, like maybe not as good low light, but it's virtually the same camera and it's $1,600. And you
yeah.
compare this with cheaper APS-C Sony lenses. So really well-rounded kit. Now we've used this as Think Media as well. Craig, I know you've had one. We use them for podcasting as well.
Yep. It's on my because this desk over here that you can't really see in the background, that's a little bit further deeper into my studio. And I chose to use the FX30 for that shot instead of my FX3 because it has a narrower field of view because of the crop sensor.
Mm.
So, anyways, I swapped the positions of these cameras, put the FX3 here and the FX30 there. But yeah, these are my two main studio cameras, and I literally just leave them on the tripods basically at all times if I'm in the studio and just let them be my workhorses. Yeah.
We have a comment from Lady Fermenter. How did you cover a camera that's good for interviewing with multiple microphones? Well, the
Ooh.
Sony FX30 could very well be that if you get the XLR top handle that comes included, or this might be an additional accessory,
Yeah, it's an
but you can
additional, I think,
plug in.
$300.
Okay, so
Yeah.
not terrible, but then you could plug in like a XLR microphone, and that is like a perfect setup, in my opinion.
Yep.
If
It's
you have a
perfect for on
video
the go.
shooter, like they can monitor your audio, so it's pretty well rounded. Now you don't necessarily need to go with something like that. Perhaps you could go with something cheaper and get a wireless microphone, which will probably cover some of these deals here.
Yep. And for
But yeah,
context, when we take like Sean Cannell to like an event center or a conference or something, we often like to make content with Sean, and we will use the FX30 or the FX3. Either way, they're the same body, and you can use those top handle audio interfaces with them. We'll use that as our main camera, and we'll shoot in 4K resolution just on one camera, and then we'll be able to kind of punch in and get multiple angles out of the same camera, and then we'll have two podcast level like handheld microphones to each of our guests, and we'll just be like recording in an event center for like a live podcast episode using just one camera and two microphones. And this is the camera that we do that with. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question.
we got a couple more cameras left on this list. The next one we're moving on to is the Sony ZV-E1, which I have right here. Now, when this camera first came out, I got to be honest, I didn't like it. You know, it was a cheaper version of the camera I had, but people were complaining about overheating and all this stuff. Well, sometimes you just got to buy something and try it. I've had zero issues with this camera. So it's a full frame camera and it's essentially the same thing as my A7S III or the FX30, just kind of more oriented for vloggers, YouTube content creators, and at a much, much cheaper price point.
Yeah.
Right now, it's 14% off, $300 off for $1,900. Same image quality of what you're seeing us right now, even better because we're just streaming. Flip out screen. There's even just like good vlogging features that are not in some of the other cameras, like active stabilization.
Yep.
So this is a pretty great kit. Does it have its limitations? Yes. Like, does it get a little bit warmer compared to the FX3? Yeah, it does. But if you are someone who's a content creator or knows just how to use a camera and looking for a solid image, this is a
It's
pretty good
amazing.
price point. Yeah.
It's a great price point. And also the Sony FX6, I believe, has the same sensor as this camera
Mm,
as well. So you're talking that's like $6,500 cinema camera that's using the same sensor, which is pretty wild. And it's kind of similar to like the ZV E10. Man, these names are crazy with Sony.
yeah.
The ZV E10 Mark II, the version 2 of the ZV E10, has the same sensor as the FX30. So if you're looking for like
Mhm,
the most budget options of the best sensors that Sony offer, the ZV-E1 would be the full frame variant of that. It's the most budget
mhm.
friendly, best sensor Sony makes basically in their lower end cameras. And then on the crop sensor side would be the ZV-E10 Mark II. And so you're getting the benefits of those higher end sensors and just kind of a cheaper body. So yeah, it's kind of a workaround. If you want the best image quality, this is the route to go.
Absolutely. We got one last camera on the list. DJI Mini 3. If you're looking for a drone, Craig, talk about this a little bit.
Well, the big thing about drones are a lot of people don't know you need a license to fly a drone most of the
Mm,
time. But the DJI Mini series, I think they had this kind of workaround where they made it 295 grams, I believe, is the limit. And so it's more classified as like a toy rather than like an
mm,
aircraft. And so this is why it's great for just the everyday creator to get great image quality, 4K resolution out of, and it's pretty good flight time with the mini series too, 38 minutes of flight time. They always claim
nice.
like that, the optimal would be 38. You're probably going to get more like 32, 31, depending on the life of your battery or whatever, like how long you've had the drone. But no, it's a great entry level drone so that you don't have to worry about, getting your drone license or something crazy like that. So you can just grab the Mini 3 as your first drone and it's on
And it
sale
looks
right
like it
now.
comes with the remote as well, which is super. And
Yes.
36% off. Guys, whew. That would
Yep.
also make it like a great gift for someone who's like wanting to create a video. Like not many people are gonna just go out and buy a drone, but I think we all secretly want a drone.
It's true. It's true. This is a great comment here, Brandon. So you don't need a license. Correct. You need to register it, which is $5. But yes, if you begin to make money with your drone, you need a Part 107 license.
Hmm.
So it's very technical, but if you're a creator and you want to start making money with the drone that you have, you do have to get a permit to do so, which it's actually a pretty robust test. I know several people who have gone through that test, and it's not as easy as you would think. There's some weird questions. It's kind of like your permit test, your like driver DMV test, and they put all these weird questions in there. It's kind of weird. So okay, that's our last camera.
Absolutely.
Now let's
Someone
go
just said
over.
that the remote was extra. That's a good point. So definitely need to look into that.
Is the
I don't
remote
want to.
extra for that? Here, let's go back to your
Yeah,
screen
let's
here.
let's figure this out.
Yeah, real time.
It looks like
I
it's
thought that
included.
this one is included. The RC controller. Is that it? I believe
RC.
that is it.
So there's a controller with not a monitor, and then this one with the monitor is like
Only
$20
$20
extra, which you
more.
probably want. So it
Goodness.
looks like it
Okay.
is included.
Yeah.
That's pretty dope.
I mean, that's amazing. Okay, we're gonna switch categories now. We're gonna go over to microphones. And the
Nice.
first mic on our list, and this honestly is probably the deal I'm most excited about as I was working through this list of stuff. The Hollyland Lark M2, great wireless microphone system, but in
Hmm.
particular, this is their like combo kit. So it has every single kind of input you might need. So it's got lightning, it's got USB-C, it's got a camera receiver as well. So you can send audio to any kind of iPhone device or Android device or camera. So $111, that's 30% off for what I think right now is the best wireless budget microphone system on the market. Nate, do you actually have one of these or do you not have one of these? I can't
I
remember.
do not. Everyone's talked about it, and it looks so cool because you just have a tiny little mic you can just clip onto you. So
Yep.
that is
So
pretty dope.
let me show the audience here. It comes in this little, oh my goodness, I got my screens all messed up. Let's try this. Boom. Comes in this little case. So you get this. This is the charging case right here. So the microphones, man, my focus is too good. The microphones nestle in here for the combo kit. And so this is the two mics and then the camera receiver. And then in this bag is all the other accessories. So the different types of receivers for mobile devices and even some other accessories. Like you get a little like necklace you could like attach, which is kind of interesting. But I love the Hollyland. I'm a big fan of the Hollyland, and it's probably my favorite wireless mic solution, even in terms of like even the professional ones. Obviously, the Rode wireless Pro system is outstanding, and the DJI Mic 2 system amazing. But those are at different
They're
price points.
much expensive.
You
Yeah,
know,
it's like
way
four
more
hundred
expensive.
dollars, 350. But yeah,
Yeah,
this if you're like, and what's cool about this too is you can connect it to your phone and also to your camera. Like, which is so cool because you can grow with it if you are starting off with your phone, but then later, oh, I'm going to pick up a ZV-10 for
yep.
Black Friday. Well, this will work too. So
Yeah, and if you need to save, a little bit of money, well, you're saving $21 if you just want to go with like the USB-C version. And if you
at
have a
that
newer
price point,
iPhone,
just get the whole combo.
yeah,
I
for
I would.
$21, yes, you can use it for all the different cameras and mobile devices. I would do that for sure, and I think it's a great deal. Okay, let's go over to this guy right here. So 28% off the Shure, the original SM7B. So this is like,
Dang.
I mean, the best podcast microphone of all time. All the big podcasters use this mic. And I think we even, like our content director, Kyle, he thinks that this sounds better than even the updated version of this microphone, which would be the SM7DB. And that has a built-in like preamp to the microphone that helps boost the gain. So the thing about this microphone is it doesn't have a pretty weak preamp in it. So you have to boost the audio gain with some sort of audio interface or boost solution for your audio signal. But if you have that,
I believe you get like an accessory called a FET head, which is like $50, and that will do the same thing. And so for $400 for this whole setup, you're gonna get like the best sounding audio you can possibly get. And you're not using that one; you're using another Shure microphone, but it's sounding even better than how you sound right now, which is pretty good.
It does. This is the Shure MV7X, and we did a comparison of like budget microphones under $200 for podcasters, and this probably was our top solution, the Shure MV7X. But again, the SM7DB is going to sound even richer, fuller sound quality. And it just looks good. It's got that sleek kind of matte finish. I don't love that in the SM7DB. They went the route of like the glossy finish. It's kind of reflective. Not my favorite. So still, I mean, this is like the OG goated podcast microphone. And it's on sale, 28% off. I feel like this is kind of deceiving though, because the SM7DB, I think, is $500. So this mic does not sell for $500. It usually sells for under $500. So nonetheless,
they'll do that.
They'll do it.
Stick it on you.
But okay.
Regardless, still a great deal if you're looking for a podcast microphone.
Yep. So this is a mic from Movo now that we'll move to. So Movo makes, I mean, they have a ton of different microphone options, but I actually just got this one in the mail because I wanted to try it out. We wanted to try it out to see what it had to offer because it's more of a budget solution. And it comes in this neat little like carrying case. It's got a windscreen. It's got a shock mount, different cables for different types of cameras. And so this is a budget way that you're going to be able to improve your sound quality. It's not going to be the greatest sounding microphone in the world, but you're paying, $40 on sale for Black Friday, and it's going to work with any camera and just give you a better audio signal right away. So this is a pretty good entry level microphone option for $40. And it comes with a case and a windscreen and, an actual, like, we call these a dead cat. You can see that little thing on the screen right there. It's I don't know why we call that in the film industry the dead cats, but it does come with the dead cat.
They have bigger ones called dead wombats.
Do they really? That is hilarious, dude. The wombat. Oh my. Okay, well that's that one, and then I think this is our last microphone solution. Okay, so Rode makes the one I just show you from Movo. That's kind of a competitor to this Video Micro microphone. But the reason I like this kit is because it's kind of an all-in-one solution. So it's got the Rode Video Micro, and then you're going to get that little mobile phone tripod and a little light as well with that dual like cold shoe adapter up top. So it's sort of like an all-in-one vlogger solution for $106. And the microphone's going to sound a little bit better than the Movo solution. Not a ton better, but a little bit better. And this also is the 3.5 millimeter connection version. So if you wanted to plug this into, like, I have the iPhone 15 Pro, which is USB-C. So I'd have to use a little converter, a 3.5 millimeter converter to USB-C in order to be able to use this microphone in particular with this setup. But and we'll be sure to link everything we're talking about, again, is linked in the description. And we even have a document that we're working through. We'll get you access to that in the description below as well, so that you can check all these out yourself. Okay, that's all the microphones. What's our next category of stuff, Nate? What is it?
Our next category, we're going to dive into some lenses. But first, I just want to point out that if you're really interested in getting a bunch of different deals, you can actually go to thinktechguide.com. We put together some of our best cameras and different kits with that. So you can go ahead and check that out. There's probably a link in the description or in the chat you can check out. But let's go ahead and let's move on to some camera lenses. Craig, I'm going to have you take this one away because you discovered this really crazy lens. Go ahead and talk about it.
This is like my number one recommended lens right now for anyone. Anybody who comes to me is like, I want a Sony camera. I have a Sony camera. They even make this, I think, for other mounts as well, potentially. I think so.
See.
Yeah, maybe you can do some research on the back end to confirm. But yeah, 20 millimeter Viltrox f2.8 Sony lens. This is just such a great lens because it has really good autofocus and the price is insane. I mean, $149 for a prime lens that shoots at a constant 2.8 aperture, which is going to let in quite a bit of light. And that's basically unheard of. And the image quality is really solid. So anybody truly, if you DM me on Instagram ever, like, what is a lens I should get? You probably know this is the first option that I'll send you if you're a creator on a budget. And it's only 5% off. So it's not like the greatest Black Friday deal, but the entry level price is already so low that it makes up for it. So I highly recommend. I mean, if you're looking for a very first lens, I love
And
the
Craig, can you
Viltrox.
explain to the audience like what is a prime lens? This is 20
Yeah.
millimeter. Kind of explain what the benefit of that
Yeah,
is.
so there's really two main different types of lenses. You have zoom lenses, which have a variable zoom range, so you can zoom them in and out. And then you have prime lenses, which are a fixed focal range. Like we talked about with the ZV-1F, it's a fixed lens. It's a prime lens of 20 millimeters. So it's actually the same focal length as the Viltrox 20 millimeter lens. So, and a lot of times prime lenses tend to have better image quality than zoom lenses just because there's I mean, for a variety of reasons, but there's less elements in the glass. And so it just usually helps increase.
Less complicated design, the sharper it can
Exactly.
be. But yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
then
it's, what's up?
sorry, sorry not to cut you off, but we just want to mention that this is for APS-C Sony email. Is this also for full frame or
Yeah. So
just
this is full
for?
frame. Yep. It's a full frame
Oh,
lens.
wow.
That's what's crazy about it, bro.
That's
Is
really
like,
good. Yeah.
yeah, it's full frame for 104. You can literally use this with any Sony camera that's ever been produced. Like if it's a
So we
full
just
frame
talked about
sensor.
the E1. Like I could just pair it with this.
Yes.
I might have to snag this deal
Yeah,
then.
no, it's
Jeez.
crazy. Like I love it. So check it out. Viltrox actually makes several. They have like I think a 40 millimeter version as well. And then they have some other lenses that are dedicated for APS-C, but they're all really compact, small, lightweight, easy to use. So I'd check this one out for sure.
Awesome. Well, we're going to dive into one other lens that we found on a deal, and this is the Sigma 18 to 50, which I actually have right here. And Craig and I were talking about this little lens. Even
Yep.
I switched to you instead of
Yep.
me. I don't know how. I'm just gonna leave it here. But we're talking about this is like the number 4 best selling lens out on Amazon. So like you could buy like a cheap Nifty 50 that's been around forever, but this one is crazy popular. So if you have a ZVE10 or Mark II or FX30, this would probably be the best all-around lens to get. 18 to 50 means you can zoom, so you have that flexibility, and it's a constant f2.8. So a lot of these kit lenses that you might get with your camera that are cheaper, well, they're going to like get darker as you zoom in. They have what's called a variable aperture. This one being constant, you can zoom in, it's going to be the same brightness. So I really like this
Yep.
lens. It's crazy sharp. It also, one of my favorite features is it has a crazy minimum focus distance. Again, we're using all these terms today, but what that means is you can focus like super close, like a macro.
Yep.
And so if you're filming little details or products like I do, it's really handy to be able to just to focus in on something when your camera is like literally you can get this close to it. So it's pretty
Yep.
fun.
Yeah. You
And
you
at
don't
500,
realize.
go ahead.
Yeah. You don't realize how important minimum focusing distance is until you start doing like product reviews and videos where you're trying to like get a detail of a product, but you literally can't move your camera
Mhm.
any closer to the product. So the fact that this has such a good minimum focusing distance is like you won't even realize how much you like it until you start
Mhm.
using it. And it's so beneficial, so helpful.
It's also just it's a tiny small lens. So if you have the ZV-10, like it's a pretty small camera. This is a fairly small package altogether. And right now on this deal, you can get a cheap SD card, a backpack. I don't know the quality of those, but those are just thrown in as a party favor. But
Party
so
favorite.
I can't attest to the quality of those, but on the lens, yes, it's a fantastic one to pick up.
I
So if you
love
are
it.
looking for just a good lens to upgrade with a camera, which is probably more important on honestly, before you
Yep.
think about upgrading your camera, maybe look at your lens. If you're using a kit lens, just might be better off buying a new lens like this.
It's true.
All
Do
right,
we have
Craig.
some more lenses on this list or no?
That is all the lenses we covered, but this actually is a good point we want to bring up. Did we miss anything? Is there good deals that you found that we haven't covered so far? drop them in the comments because we love to be able to share with our whole community and everyone can get hold of these deals. But
Yeah.
Craig, let's move on to our next
Absolutely.
section,
We're gonna go to
lighting.
lighting. Yep, lighting gear. And I'm actually gonna let Nate talk about this first light because he just did multiple videos about the Mount Dog softbox, which again is,
Absolutely.
yeah, we're talking about like some of our favorite items, but also some of our community's favorite items because we can tell based on analytics and data that people love in our audience the Mount Dog softbox. It's a great seller for us in terms of like affiliate sales. And dude, what's up with this thing? Why do people love it? What are your opinions? Tell us.
Yeah, so if you're making YouTube videos in your room, you need good lighting first and foremost. It doesn't matter how good your camera is; they're all going to look bad if you don't have a good light. So for this used to be $50 for $40. Come on, folks. You get
Yep.
a softbox, and this is key if you're lighting yourself because you want to have soft lighting. Right now, what I'm kind of working with, I have a little bit of a soft lighting situation. It's going to kind of smooth out
You
less
look
harsh
great.
shadows. Oh, thank you. I try to show up, look good. Um, but yeah, so having soft lighting generally is going to make you look more pleasing. Ladies out there, if you're concerned about pores or showing anything, soft lighting is your best friend. So you can get this nice and close to your subject. So like just out of camera frame. And yeah, we have a whole video breaking down how to set this up and how to look good on camera, the proper placement. But this comes with a remote. You can turn up the brightness. You can also warm it or cool it down. So, and it comes with like everything you need, like a stand, the light, the softbox, the remote, everything you need minus like the AAA batteries for the remote. But for $40, this is a probably the best recommended light if you're just getting started. Maybe you don't know lighting. This would be the first thing I would pick up, and you significantly improve your videos much more than spending hundreds of dollars on a camera.
Yeah, it's got that large light source, which is so
That's
important
what
for
you
that
need.
soft
Yep.
lighting. You need as large of a light source as you can get, the better, typically. And again, as you mentioned, like the closer you can get that light source to you, the more pleasing, the more it's going to wrap around your skin and your face and make it look just more like beauty lighting. And so, yeah, this is a great starter solution. I mean, $40, like, let's
Absolutely.
go, dude. Come on now. I
Yeah.
mean, your video, if you bought this, your video could have been best, lighting under
Under
$40.
40.
But
Gotta change it now. Change
yeah.
the title.
That's amazing. Okay, our next light. Okay, I have this lighting kit. I tested it out. This
Nice.
is the Nice VD. Man, these names are awesome. Nice VD Studio Light. And this is a full kit of 2 lights. It comes with 2 light stands. It even comes with these 2 weird like phone holders that I probably would never use. I have never used them, but you could use them if you wanted to like mount your phone to the light stand. And the cool thing about these lights are they're just kind of like a typical panel streaming light, but they're uber budget. And they were on sale, but now they're not showing that they're on sale for Black Friday. But regardless, we're going to show them because they're $53 for a 2-pack. And the beauty about this, so you can look up, we'll link down in the description below or pin it in a comment. We did an entire YouTube studio for $1,000, and we use these as our lighting sources for our
Mm.
key light and our fill light. And when you compare them to more higher end streaming lights, they're actually pretty comparable and they're by color temperature as well. So it has a little remote where you can click different color temperatures to cooler or warmer to match whatever scene you're in. And then, I mean, at the end of the day, $53 for a 2-pack of these is just a pretty solid deal. And I know, Nate, you haven't used these, but if you want it, here, let me show you. Let me grab the kit.
Mm.
Look at this. Comes in this nice bag. Like, look at this. They're thinking of
Oh,
everybody
dang. Yeah.
here. Let's see. Oh, how do we get it to
Yeah, switch
myself?
to
Let's
me. Yeah,
go.
let's.
Look at this. It comes in a nice bag, and you got like,
Oops.
let me pull it out here. Look at this. We're gonna be kind of like Vanna White here. Here are the panels. Look at the panels. Look at how nice they are. They're like, you just set these up on your desk or something, or right outside a frame, and they're pretty solid. So I'm a big fan of the lights. Let's move on though to the next lights. What do we have here? We have, I'll let you talk about, do you know the Elgato key light at all?
Yeah, we did a couple of videos about it, and when we did Grow with Video Live, we in real time set this up for Sean on stage, which was and this thing worked for that. So if you're looking for a desktop light, so we talked about these other lights, they have their own tripod stands, but sometimes that can be bulky and get in the way. what you want to do is get a desktop mounted stand. So this just screws onto the edge of your table. And this is a LED panel. So while it's not necessarily a huge light source, it's a little bit bigger. And so you are going to get relatively soft lighting. But one of my favorite features about this light is the fact that you can have this tiny remote that comes on the back of it. It pops off and you can kind of control the brightness, the color just from this little remote that you can kind of keep on your desk. And then it
I
pops
think
on the
that's the
back to
actually
charge
the
it.
Godox one.
Oh,
Let
is
me
that
look.
right?
Yeah.
Am
Yep.
I
So that's the
mistaken for
Godox one.
this? So yeah,
Yep.
you speak to this one now.
Yep. So
Yeah.
the Elgato one is a kind of an interesting one because it's really based on like software. And so you really, if you're somebody who loves tech and you love to like integrate your setups with like a Stream Deck and you like apps, like the Elgato is perfect for that because there's not really, I think literally the only control on this light is a power on, off, or reset switch. So everything else is controlled via tech. But a lot of people love Elgato. They use like their microphones, their lights, their Stream Decks, and so you can integrate like a full ecosystem with the Elgato key, and it's a very beautiful light source. It's really high output too. So yeah, and we have our producer on the back end who just is playing this review of best streaming lights in the background. So we compare the Godox to the Elgato to a newer streaming light setup, and so you can check out this video, best desk light for streaming, and you can check all these out. I think they're all good options, but again, they're going to be $130, $140, and that's for like one light. And so that nice VD kit is so enticing because it's $53 for two lights. They're not as high quality, they're not as high tech, but it's a pretty good quality light source. It's got a high CRI, which is really important, which is just the quality of the light is accurate, which is really important. So whether you want a higher end setup like from Elgato or the nice VD, I think you have some good options here for streamers for sure.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's go. Oh, you can speak to this bad boy. Here it is. Let me share screen
Oh.
again. The Amaran 60D, 20% off. What are your thoughts on the 60DS?
Amaran makes some of the best video lighting out there, and we're not even sponsored. I just wholeheartedly just agree with that. This is the 60DS. So what this light is, it's called a cob light, COB, so chip on board. And all that means is you can kind of add different modifiers to the front of your light. And if you are looking for like, okay, I'm taking my YouTube channel seriously, I want to get a good video light, not just something that's, you know, less expensive, you know, that's a great start. But if you're looking to upgrade, this one has extremely accurate color reproduction. So your skin tones are going to like look really good. That's a big thing with some of these cheaper LED lights. You kind of like look green or not as saturated. But this thing, you're going to get really accurate colors. You can mount a softbox to the front of it and again, get that soft lighting. But I bought one of these just to kind of have around in my studio, and I'll just like shooting up into the ceiling and just kind of light my space.
Yeah.
You can power it with a V mount battery or with NPF batteries. It also
Yep.
has a power cable that can go straight to it. But this is a tiny, small light that you can adjust. And by the way, Amaran, like I think across the board, or at least a majority of lights, is like 20% off. So there's the 60DS, there's a 60XS, which the X stands for bicolor. So you can kind of warm it or cool it down, which is a nice thing. But the DS is great because you have daylight color temperature. You don't really have to worry too much about setting it up.
Yep.
But at $135, you want a good video light, good investment. This
Yep.
is definitely the one to get.
It's amazing. And it's the key light that I'm using right here. See that little light in the edge of my frame?
Right in the corner?
Yeah, that's my key light for my main desk shots. And I use it. I just usually have it set to like 19% power. It's so bright.
It's crazy
so,
power. Yeah.
It's like 90% power, and I just flip it on, and it's a perfect quality light. It's accurate. It replicates, renders skin tones properly, which is really important. Really, budget lights tend to kind of shift skin tones like magenta or green, but these are really accurate. So you're going to get an accurate light source, which is really important. Okay, I think we have two more lights. Aha, yes. So this is the Amaran P60C. So again, Amaran is doing a lot of lights, 20% off. This is $279. And right now in my space, if you can see, like there's a little bit of blue light going on. It's because I have this P60C set up on a stand over here, just splashing a blue RGB color into the back of my room. And I actually have this, I have a bunch of preset sets. Let's see if we can see the back of this. Okay, we kind of can see right here what this control interface is. So you can use like, your power, your color, temperature, and saturation. But I've built these preset buttons here, like 1 through 4. Preset 1, I have set to daylight color. If I want to just fill my room with like daylight color temperature to help reinforce my overhead lights, which are Philips Hue lights, I match the color temperature to those. That's preset 1. And then presets 2, 3, and 4 are different RGB settings. So if I want my studio to be blue or pink or orange or something, I have these presets built. So I just, with one click of a button, and they're set to specific power levels, intensities, as well as saturations. So this is a great way to just add RGB to your scene. Plus this thing is so bright that you could even use it as a key light if you wanted to add some layers of diffusion. It does come, look at this weird like softbox grid thing that it comes with. Kind of interesting. It sort of works to soften the light. It's not the best. So you're probably going to need a larger diffusion source if you want to use this as a pleasing key light. But in terms of accents, RGB, this is my favorite RGB solution right now in my studio personally. Have you ever used
I
this
think
one?
a key thing about this is not only is it RGB, so you get the colors, but you can also use daylight or warm it as well. So you
Yeah.
have that flexibility to use it if you wanted to use it as a key light, or like you're saying, probably best as a background light. But yeah,
Yep.
we use this back when I did a lot of like corporate videos and commercials. We would use these all the time for like little hair lights or just adding color,
Yep.
like light. You can almost make a fake green screen just because it's so powerful, just shining on a wall. But yeah, so
Yep.
for 20% off, looking for RGB, that's again crazy bright. This is a solid setup.
Absolutely. Okay. Last light on our
Yeah, we
list.
have another RGB light by Amaran. This is their tube light. So one's the 2-footer, but I believe there's also on sale for a 4-foot, which is actually that guy back there is my 4-foot
Oh, really?
Amaran
That's
tube.
amazing.
Yeah. So I just had it like resting on the shelf, but
Oh yeah, there's the 4-foot right there. If people want to check that out, 4 feet long, double the length,
yes. Yeah.
$263 or $159 for the
Yeah,
2-footer.
and I'd probably recommend the 2-footer for most people. Like, yeah, you can use this the same way to add color to your background, or like I do like to put it literally in the camera frame like that, if I can get out of the way. But I like to do that because it just kind of like looks cool, like it's better
Yeah,
than it actually looks. But
yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
so check out all of Amaran lights for different things. They have little LED bulbs. They got bigger chip on board lights. The 200X is probably on sale, which is lighting me at like
Mhm.
2% brightness or something crazy.
That's amazing.
Um, but yeah, let's go ahead and let's move on to our next section on this list. And we're going to talk about tripods and other rigging things. Craig, can you speak to this one here? The
Yes.
SmallRig
Oh my goodness.
VT20.
Check this thing out. Okay, this is it right here. The VT20. All these names are just like so technical, but
I know.
this I call it, it's like, where's that little tabletop small rig tripod? That's what I call this thing. And I love it because lately I've been doing a lot of shots of product reviews in my studio. And I don't always love the same shots where I just like have the product on the desk and then I'm like hand holding the camera, kind of like sliding left and right or something, just a typical B-roll shot. So lately I've actually been setting this up on my desk and then I stand behind my desk and then use this as like sort of a like POV sort of tripod on my desk. And then I'm recording B-roll of like my hands and whatnot. So it's just kind of like a tabletop tripod, but it extends high enough to where you
Dang,
could
yeah.
use it for a variety of scenes. So it almost looks too small, but you realize like after you know, and then actually it comes up here too. Look at that. So it actually extends pretty far. I love these things, man. It gets me so hyped. So anyways, I love the tripod, $43. This is quickly becoming, it's actually my probably second most used tripod in my studio right now
Wow.
for product reviews, which is kind of crazy because it's so tiny. So I love it. I don't
Yeah, if
you
you're
don't have
using a
it though, right?
smaller camera like the ZV-10s or any mirrorless thing, this is gonna support it.
Yeah.
Has 13 pounds of payload, so I mean, you could put
Come
a
on now.
cinema camera if you want to.
13 pounds. Sheesh.
Let's go. So we have a couple different other tripods. We have the Ulanzi MT44. So this one's kind of for phones and little lighter weight cameras. Craig, do you actually have this one?
I do not have this one, but I've to me, this Ulanzi one in particular, I know we have another Ulanzi one. This just represents to me like a category of tripods, which are
Mm,
like compact, budget phone tripods that really like pare down really tiny for travel. And so I was trying to look for one like that, and the Ulanzi one was really cheap. I mean, $20 at 25% off is really impressive for this kind of solution. And just take it wherever you want, and it can be on the go with you. It can pack in the car, or you can use it in your studio. So $20, I mean, I think it's pretty solid. 59 inches too is somewhat
Wow.
tall.
Yeah.
I think I'm 69 inches tall, so it's 10 inches shorter than me. But it would be fine for most people.
It looks like it has a built-in phone clip as well. So if like I don't know, like if you kept this in your car or something and like you forgot a tripod, just have it as a backup, like you could always just mount your phone to it. So that's
Yeah, that's fire.
pretty
I
sweet.
love that.
Next tripod we have is the Ulanzi MT56, and there's a couple different versions. Now, I've actually kind of recommended this in the accessories video for the ZV-10 Mark II, but this little tripod I've actually been using quite a lot in my studio. I come from like the corporate world where we're using like heavy tripods. And so it's kind of weird for me to switch to a lighter thing, but I really don't need a heavy tripod for these lightweight cameras. So it's quick, it's easy to set up. This one has a fluid head. So if you like to do smooth pans or tilts, a lot of professional video work, you go with that option. Or there is a ball head, which I guess is
Nice.
not on sale. But if you wanted this version, you could kind of like quickly lock it off, maybe more for photography. But built-in phone, or it comes with a phone clip as well. They could rotate for vertical or horizontal. And then what's also cool is not only is it pretty small, but it has a center column that you can raise up. So you can get 63 inches, so almost as tall as Craig. And
Almost.
it's almost. So that
That's
comes
amazing.
at $56 for that tripod.
I love it. I love it.
We got one
And then
more on the list here, the KNF Concept. Craig, want to take
oh,
this
look
one?
at that. Okay, so yeah, this is actually right now my most used tripod in my studio. And it's so funny. I mean, well, technically it's not. It's maybe like the second most used, and then the small rig one was the third most used. I digress. The point being, I use this all the time for all of my locked off shots, just because it's really quick and easy and lightweight and cheap. So $42, and it's very similar to the Ulanzi one that Nate just shared, but I just like it. I recommend it. It's built well. It's got the ball head, and you can even, tilt the ball head into a position where it's shooting downward too. So if you want to do like
Okay.
straight down shots or something, it's got the
That
center
is nice.
column to extend it nice and tall. So with
Looks like it's
64,
made out of metal, which is the other one was like a plastic. So if you are
yep,
looking for something
it's
maybe
made out
more
of
on the
metal.
go, yeah.
Yep. It's built really well. And at 64 inches too, when you add kind of like the height of what a camera would be too, like it puts it in a great spot where I can like lift it all the way up, and it's a great eye level for me for like shooting talking head videos in my studio. So big fan. There's so many tripods out there. This is a
Yeah, we
market
have a
that's
comment here actually. iFootage Cobra 3 Strike monopod is
Ooh,
20% off. iFootage is another great brand. I have their aluminum TA3B, which is also like a tripod, a travel tripod. So I would check those out as well.
I
So
love it. I love it.
great
That's
for
great.
thanks for sharing that, Patrick. All right, so let's move on to our next category.
Okay.
Craig, if you want to lead this one, accessories.
Yeah, so we have all sorts of accessories. We'll start with a couple of battery power solutions, and we had the VB, I think 99 on here as well, but it looks like maybe they even sold out of that. So we'll start with the VB 50. So this is on sale for 50% off, and I use these batteries all the time. Let me show you. Okay. This is the VB99, so it's a little bit bigger than the VB50, but we use these to power all sorts of items. And the funniest thing that I use these for, like you can power cameras, you can power lights, you can power any sort of tech related equipment. But what I found myself using these most often for is during the summer months, I have these portable fans in my car so that I mount them to the back of the seats of my wife's car for our two baby boys. And then I'm powering the fans, and they last like a week and a half. And so I can just like blast my kids with nice fanned air by the power of these V mount batteries. And I love it. So they're such a great solution for anything. Do
Because
you
they
use
not
V mount?
only like use USB-C, or you have
Yep.
USB-A and different outputs. So
Yeah.
what's
So
great
we
about
have
it, it's kind of like a catch-all for different if you're doing for video, but also You can charge, like I bring one when I travel on the go, like as a power bank, because I
Exactly.
also know, hey, I have a USB-C, and you can charge these ones through USB, which is nice because many of these other VM mount batteries, some of them don't charge through USB, so
Yeah,
you
and
do
then
have
you
to
have to
watch that
charge
out.
with like some you have to charge with DTAP, some you have to
Yeah.
charge like with an actual V mount like
And I will
charger.
mention too the Amaran 60DS that we just talked about. You have to be careful which V mounts you use because they won't actually fit on the ballast, but the small rig ones work just fine. So that's another
Interesting.
benefit to this model in particular.
Interesting.
But
That's
yeah, at
fascinating.
$90 for the 50 watt, that's if you want to power your camera, you're gonna like 3-4 hours straight off that
Yeah,
one thing.
that's half off. I mean, that's amazing. That's an amazing. Oh,
Yeah.
and look at this. If you want it in green, look at
Yeah, they
this
have
orange.
colors.
Oh my goodness, I love the orange. Wow.
Wait,
Okay, I
can
love
I
it.
can I just break protocol here for a second?
Oh, yo.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. The boss
Okay,
came in.
so I have
Behave yourself, everyone.
like so this is the difference in size. Here's the 50. Here's the 99, which Craig has. So here's the difference.
Oh,
I don't power any camera without these. And just as Craig says, he uses it. What do you use it to power your fan?
fans, portable
Yeah.
fans.
I travel with these all the time and use it for my phone, traveling my charging my laptop too. But also, here's that light what we were talking about earlier, right?
Mm-hmm.
Amaran 60D. So you can actually mount these.
Yep.
Boom.
Dude, that is
And some other
crazy.
V mounts
No
won't
cables.
actually fit.
No cables.
Yeah.
Yeah, no cables, right? Put your softbox on it. I have this mounted on like a Varipole in my studio, and I put a softbox on it, and it's a hair light. So super clean setup, like with this combo. But again, sorry, just want to pop in here. Highly recommend. I have like 8 of these batteries. I love them. So I'll let you guys go.
I love
Do
it.
yourself a favor and buy one immediately. You won't regret
I mean,
it.
if you type in like the small rig battery, there's so many on sale right now. Just
Yeah.
Mhm.
highly recommend.
I love it. I love
You
it.
get different power and sizes too, like we're saying the 90 or the 50. But honestly, I think 50 would be like I like the size of it because it's much smaller.
Yeah, I love the size of the 50 for sure. Yeah, the 99 gets it's pretty beefy. So you got to
Mhm.
be aware of where you're, keeping that sucker. Okay. Anyways, the next okay, dude. Dummy batteries. Do you use
Mm.
dummy batteries?
Absolutely. This
Okay. I love it.
this rig I built that is going to be broke down later in the I'm going to do a video about it. Subscribe so you don't miss it. But I use dummy power for all those. So you plug this into the bottom of your ZVE10 and you plug that into an outlet and you never have to worry about batteries ever again. So
Yep.
if you're making content, like that is one of those things that genuinely speeds up your time. You're not worrying about, oh, is this charged? You just know, turn on the camera, you're ready to go. As long as you have enough SD card space.
Yep.
But $20, this is like that's an investment you should easily make.
Yes. No, it's a great deal. And I'm using a Go 9
Mm.
NPF Z100 battery right now in my FX3. So it's continuous power is running to this. I'm not worried about the camera ever dying. And it's just one of the best investments you can make. If you know,
Yeah, we
and
couldn't
any of
stream
these,
without having these into the camera.
no, absolutely not. I'd be so worried. I'd be anxious about my camera dying, and it just gives you peace of mind. So with any of these deals too, if you're on Amazon and you scroll down to like related deals like these, like you can see here, I don't know if it's a Black Friday deal. It is 11% off right now. So this is the Z100 variant. So I think I'm using this
Mhm.
exact setup right now for my FX3 as my main camera. So 11% off. Well, I'll be sure to add this to that document. So this is the document we're using to work through all of these deals. So I'll add that to the document as well as in the description of the YouTube video so that if you want a Z series battery and not just the NPF, W50, which is for the older, smaller ZVE10, 6400, we'll add both of those. Okay. We're
I
moving
want
to a
to
new
highlight a
category
few
now.
quick comments here before we move on
Oh,
to the
please do.
next section. But we have this one is new measurement. How many Craigs tall is your tripod? I think we should use that from now on. This is 1 Craig or 9/18
That's
Craig.
perfect. That's perfect.
And then quick question here. Follow your desk setup to a T. Quick off-topic question. What ISO do you use for your overhead? I mean, honestly, it's going to depend on the brightness of your light, but typically probably around ISO 400. What I like to do is stop down the lens so I get more in focus when you're working overhead. So you may want to increase your ISO, but I just thought I would answer your question while we're here and while
That's
we're
great.
on. But
That
let's
is
go
great.
ahead and dive into. Actually, we got one more. What is a good lens for the ZV-10 for short films? What for a studio? Thanks, guys. I probably would recommend the 18 to 50 because you have that zoom range. Every focal length you pretty much would need. Constant f2.8. The downside is there's no image stabilization on the lens,
Yeah.
and the E10 does not have IBIS,
Mhm.
so things get a little shaky. You could also look at the Sigma 1614. However, you're going to
Yep.
be pretty wide. Craig, do you have any recommendations for?
Yeah, and the comment here mentions short films. And
Mhm.
so one of the things I'd be most aware of when shooting things that you want to look cinematic is focus breathing so that it sort of like makes the lens look as if it's almost sort of like zooming in as it changes focus. It's like a weird disorienting experience. And a lot of more budget lenses or photography lenses deal with focus breathing worse than even manual. Some like cinematic like manual focus lenses could even be a better option. I know there's like third party companies like Rokinon that create some like cinema lenses that are a little bit cheaper. So you just have to ask yourself like truly what's your priority? Like
Mhm.
if you're in a studio, I think autofocus is really important. You want good
Yeah.
autofocus tracking. But if you're shooting short films, your priority might be a little bit different. So you'd want to think through that.
I will
And
say too,
yeah.
like having shot short films, one of my favorite things to do is buy vintage photography lenses and mount that to my camera. So I have like a back shelf here and you can't really see it, but there's a bunch of like old glass from the 70s. But that actually gives you a very cinematic look. And you can pick them up for like $20, $30, sometimes cheaper.
Yeah.
Get an adapter. Yes, you will need manual focus and set everything appropriately, but I do think you get a better image. Again, for studio stuff, as long as you're okay with manual focus, it's great. But yeah, it just depends on what your needs are. But I'd say like still pick up a vintage lens. It's so much fun.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, well, let's dive into
Absolutely.
these here.
So we have a video capture card. Craig, have you used this particular one?
Let's see, the Ugreen one, I can't remember which one I'm using actively. This one is from a different company. But I have other Ugreen products. I have Ugreen
Nice.
cables. I actually have I think Ugreen created a NAS, like a Synology competitor, like a network attached storage solution that I
Hmm.
have from Ugreen. So Ugreen is a reputable company. They've been around for a while and they make pretty good products. So the whole point of a capture card, you can't just like plug in your camera to a computer. It's not going to recognize it typically, unless some of these cameras have like USB-C ports that you can plug in. Sometimes they work. But if you're using the HDMI port to stream, you're going to need a device that's going to capture that video signal and convert it to a recognizable feed by your computer. And that's what a capture card does. And so this is a budget one, 25% off for $18 is a great price. We also typically recommend a Condor Blue. Maybe in real time, Nate, would you be willing
Yeah,
to
I was
search
about to
to see
say
if the
that too
Condor?
because I
Yeah,
personally use this one, and again, we use it almost every day. It's not on sale, but for $35, if you I trust the Ugree brand as well, but if you want the one I'm exactly using, this is
yeah,
the Condor Blue.
yeah.
Yep.
Condor Blues is such a great brand. I mean, they're an amazing camera company, camera part company, and accessory
Mhm.
company. So I'm a big fan of Condor Blue. So that's great. What's our next cable accessory?
Next one, we have just HDMI cables. So you're gonna need to you can't just simply plug this in, you need a cable to run to your HDMI capture. So we have this one that is 22% off, 4K 60. So you do need to make sure you get a high speed one depending on your needs, and this one will definitely support that. Just make sure you get the right size. This is full size HDMI, but you might need micro or mini depending on your camera. But I
Yep.
think for most Sonys, it's the micro HDMI is what you need.
Yep. And these kinds of accessories are obviously not the most exciting. It's not like a camera or a lens, but in order to produce great films and great videos, like oftentimes you need these peripherals that aren't as glamorous, but you need good reliable cables, you need good, mounting solutions, light stands. And so you just got to think through those things. And Black Friday is a great time to pick up on those things because you save money. You don't want to overspend on the stuff that's not as exciting, right? You want the deals on the things that aren't exciting. So that's a great time to buy them is during the Black Friday season. Yeah.
Love
okay.
it.
What are our next ones? Oh, yes.
Go ahead and take this one away.
Dude, I love this. This is like my most used rigging part. I'm not using it a ton right now because I'm doing so much in studio lately, but this is a monitor mount and you don't just have to use it for monitors though. So this screws into the hot shoe of your camera or a cold shoe port, and then you're able to attach monitors and it kind of tilts up and down. Or you can attach other things. So oftentimes I actually attach a microphone to this so that I can position the microphone in a more optimal angle. Sometimes if you just plug in a microphone directly to the hot shoe, it's going to just point at a not ideal position to where your mouth is oriented. So if you put it on like a tilt monitor mount, that puts it in a better position. And so for me, I have over here on my studio, I have a full bin of rigging parts, and it's just all sorts of weird things. But typically the first thing that I grab if I'm looking in that bin for a solution for something would actually be this monitor mount, and it's $20, $5 off right now. So check that out. I think it's a good solution for sure.
Wonderful.
Wait, can I just say, sorry, I have that too.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. So this guy uses my monitor arm mount on my running gun setup. So
look at that.
Like it's nice because it's built very well, and you can use it to articulate and it stays right.
Yeah, like the tension.
Nice
so highly recommend. Great product. I've had a lot of other ones and they just break and wear down over time. This one has really, it's been great.
Yep. When it comes to camera rigging in general, SmallRig is like the company, right? Condor Blue is a great company too. They have a lot of great rigging parts, but some of their stuff
but SmallRig just has so much.
They do. Like you can't compare with SmallRig. They have such intricate, weird things that it's like, I kind of need this weird solution. And somehow SmallRig has thought of that and they have that rigging part available. It's like, what? So anyhow, that's that. And then we have one more.
And they sell different mounts. So this one was cold shoe. What Kyle was just showing was, I believe, a Ari rosette pin. So you can just check out the different mounts on how you want to mount it to your camera or your rig.
Great.
And then last year we have SmallRig universal phone cage. Craig, I saw your little short on this and you're just like snapping away at us. Tell us more about this.
Yeah. So there's a couple of variants actually. And so this one in particular screws on to the side. There's other versions that are kind of I don't know, what were remember those toys that I'm not even gonna try to go there right now. I don't need to go there. Regardless, I use this for an entire review of the iPhone 16 Pro. And so we wanted to rig that out. We wanted to shoot to SSDs and shoot at the highest ProRes codec. And so we needed a mounting solution, a rigging solution. And so you don't have to do that. I mean, you can shoot. Oh, look at this. Look at our producer in the back end, Kyle. Shouts out to you. What a beautiful, look at that. I love this thing. I think it's a great product for people who just, if you need to rig out your phone, if you need to add a light, and you need to add a microphone, and you need to add side handles. I thought it was great. And look at that. In the video, it was $80. And right now it's on sale for, I believe, what was it? 40, 45?
48.
$48. So
40%
great solution.
Off,
yep. I love that one. So
what's cool about that too is you have the handles, so you're going to get more stable footage, right? As you're operating, and more comfortable too, versus just holding up a thin piece of glass, So
yes, when you're shooting on phones, the biggest issue is humans aren't very stable people. Your hands just shake, And so even your breathing, just kind of those micro jitters can get into your setup, your shot. And so when you rig out something with more weight and more, it's more substantial, it's helpful to get rid of some of those micro jitters and just produces a more pleasing end result. So that's that. Let's move on to our we're going to move into some desk accessories, computer accessories.
This is where it gets fun, I think.
This is where, I mean, come on, Black Friday, is it even Black Friday if you're not coming away with things you don't need, like a brand new computer? Okay, let me tell a quick story time. Black Friday of 2019 did me so dirty. I bought an Xbox, a TV, an Apple Watch, and an iPad all on Black Friday 2019. I was like, dude, what am I doing? But anyways, most people, you know, like you're looking at laptops, you're looking at Best Buy, you're looking at Amazon. And typically with Amazon, you're going to get the best price. Their back-end AI systems are always scavenging for like, what are competitors doing? Is Best Buy cheaper right now? And then it'll literally like in real time lower the price. They're changing prices daily to always be beating their competitors. So $844 gets you the MacBook Air 13-inch M3 chip. So this is going to be a great beginner level editing machine. So you should be able to edit basic 4K video in any editing software like Adobe Premiere, Final Cut Pro, iMovie, CapCut. We highly recommend CapCut, and also of course DaVinci Resolve. So this is going to work for basic entry-level video production editing workflow. And then we have also this laptop right here. This is the 2024 MacBook Pro. This
was like announced yesterday.
Was it yesterday or like
no, it was a couple of weeks ago, but it's pretty new. And this is the MacBook Pro M4 chip. So you're going to you're going to be rock solid editing with this system.
And so you have a laptop, right, Nate? Is it an M2?
The laptop that I'm using, our company one, is an M1 Max. And this is M4, but from what I hear, M4 is pretty much equivalent to an M1 Max. I don't know how true that is, but regardless, that's a speedy machine. I've been editing with that M1. I have a Mac Studio I currently edit with. Past 2 years, barely any issues with it.
That's amazing. Yep.
And I'm editing every day. So if you're needing a real workhorse, this is probably a great laptop to pick up.
My former employer, I was on an M1 Max chip as well in my MacBook Pro, and it was outstanding. I never had any issues in 4K video editing ever on M1 Max. So the fact that the M4 is comparable to the M1 Max chip means for $1,400, you can get yourself an amazing editing machine that's going to provide you everything you need. And right now, Nate, are you still on Mac Minis? Like, is that your...
No, I'm using the Mac Studio, but the Mac Mini, this thing, look at this. This is a cute little, adorable looking computer. I kind of just want one for the aesthetic, but this one's brand new. And if you're looking for like just a solid computer that you're going to attach your monitor to, so I have a Mac Studio, which is a larger version and has like a couple peripherals, but this allows you to like, connect HDMI, Thunderbolt, M4 chip right now. So this was announced like 2 weeks ago at $600, which is already a great deal.
Yeah.
But it's $559. Plus you can add a coupon, making this $500. If you're looking for a video editing setup, like, I don't know what you're doing, just grab this one.
What is this coupon? What is this?
I don't know. It's just a coupon. I'm like, what? For $500?
Coupon expires January 1.
Okay, so
I don't know. I mean, look at this. I mean, that's amazing. $500 for this?
That's insane. Yeah. Literally, obviously, you'll need to connect the keyboard, mouse, monitor to it. But if you already have those, like, you're going to be miles ahead, speeding up your editing workflow. That's time you can't buy back. So it's an investment at this point.
Yeah, there's monitors that are really cheap. I mean, if you want a great monitor, it's expensive, but you could get a budget monitor, a budget keyboard, and a budget mouse for $200 easily. And then have, with the additional discount for $500 plus $200 for all the peripherals, then you're looking at
editing setup under $1,000 should be
under $700. Look at that. Yeah. Dude, this is great. I love it. Okay. Those are computer deals. Nate, do you have the next category? Do you have editing software pulled up? Amazing.
Yes, I do. So Craig, you like Adobe.
I do.
You edit with Adobe.
I do.
What's the thing that people always say? It's too expensive.
It's the subscription is too expensive. Everybody says it. I feel it.
Right now, it is 50% off for a year.
Dang, that's actually a crazy deal.
Whole cloud. So not just Premiere Pro, but everything, 50% off.
So
this is pretty good. Pretty darn good. I mean, I've moved away from Adobe recently, but this is even like if you want a full suite of editing and Photoshop, Lightroom, all these tools.
Dude, $30?
$30 a month for obviously for a year. but that's pretty darn good for a whole
Yep.
suite of things. That actually, I think that would be a great gift if you have someone who's in college and maybe they no longer have access to those things. Just like, here you go. Here's a year for you to figure out and make some stuff.
Yep. That's
I don't know what I'm
amazing.
talking about, but 50% off. Pretty
Well,
darn good.
and to that note, if you are a student or an educator and you
You might
have a,
actually get
yeah, you might
even
even get
more off.
a better deal. I don't know. See what that says here. Oh my goodness, there's a deal.
$16. Folks, $16 a month right now. 70%
That's
off.
crazy. Yep. So yeah, if you have a .edu email, I used to work for a university. I went through school as well, so I had a student email for a while. Adobe always has edu discounts, and so does a lot of companies. Apple has educator discounts and student discounts as well. So always be sure to be looking at those things. Even if you enroll in like a community college program for like a semester, you're gonna be able to get that edu email. And then you can leverage that to purchase some softwares that are going to last you for a full year, right? So as long as you have the email at the time of signing up, you get the discount for the entire year. So that's really cool.
Yes. So that's a pretty sweet deal altogether. But if you're maybe on the DaVinci Resolve side of things, like I do, you can actually get the Studio right now for 20% off, the Studio license. So yes, DaVinci Resolve is free, but there are some nice features in the Studio one that this is a one-time fee. So you buy this once, you keep it forever, can put it on multiple computers. So that is 20% off. They're all from Blackmagic with some of their like peripherals, like micro color panels. But I do think just getting the Studio license right now is a good time as ever to buy one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
What
we talk about Adobe versus DaVinci Resolve and which one's best, and me and Craig will fight forever, seeing who wins. But we actually have a full video breaking down our different editing software. We'll link in the description down below too, if you want to check out. But that basically covers editing software.
I
Great
love
time to
it.
buy.
Let's pause for a second and talk about this question on the screen, Nate. Do
Okay.
you think the DJI Pocket 3 is worth buying? And the odds of it going on sale, what are the odds? Well, let's
Yeah, I
talk
was
about the
talking to
first
my
part of the
friend about it. Like, it's not on sale right now, but perhaps it might be. But the way they're selling, I mean, it's already a good deal. I'll put it that way. If you get the combo kit, so you could try your luck and wait around, because then maybe towards actually Black Friday, you might get a good deal.
Yeah.
But I do think it all depends on how you want to use it. Are you out vlogging? Are you out actually filming yourself or filming others? Or are you doing a lot of studio stuff? If you're doing a lot of things inside, I probably wouldn't use necessarily the Pocket 3. However, if you're vlogging, you're going out shooting, I have one personally, and I do enjoy using it. I love that you can connect microphones to it wirelessly and have like a really cool kit to have. Everything in a little pouch.
Yeah.
Great image quality. I'm a big fan of the whole DJI Pocket line. I've tested all of them, the 1, 2, and the 3. And the 3 is the best by far.
Yeah.
And it is worth it. So that would be my response to that. But what do you think,
I love
Craig?
it. Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's definitely worth buying if you are somebody who does any sort of like outdoor activity. If you're a vlogger, if you like hiking, if you like nature stuff. Like we did a full review on this. And we're actually I'm testing right now like 20 different accessories for the DJI Pocket 3, and we're gonna do a best
Ooh.
accessories video, hopefully dropping here very soon too. Maybe even during this tech season, holiday season, maybe around Cyber Monday, so you can look at some deals, some holiday shopping deals. It's an amazing tool for creators. Honestly, like if I did like day in the life vlogging stuff, this would by far
Mhm.
be my first choice, especially for that active track feature is so cool. Like I could just have my wife hold the Pocket 3 there, click on my face, and then she has to do nothing else. It just follows me wherever I go. I can move around the house. I can do this. I can go in the grocery store, do whatever. It's just so easy. They eliminate all of the barriers for like the technical stuff that's difficult. The Pocket 3 solves all of that in a really easy, compact solution. It is I mean, it's pricey, but not really if you look at what it's competing
Mhm.
against. Like it's kind of a one of a kind thing
Yeah.
for under, I think body only is like $520, or you can get like the combo kit for
Yeah.
670 or 650 or something.
It does vlogging and travel really, really well, but it doesn't do everything perfect. So
Yes.
you just have to know what you're shooting for and what you're using.
Look at this. The guide.
What is this? This is Sean Cannell popping up telling us that if you want to get the best deals
Sorry,
this
guys. Yeah,
holiday
this is the
season,
Think Tech Guide. This is what's happening right now. I just wanted to give everybody a clear call to action.
Love it.
So we're actually doing a giveaway. So if you go to this page, this is like all our recommended tech videos that have popped up that we've done recently, all the latest videos, and you can actually enter to win. Wait for it. A YouTube Studio. So we're actually giving away
Ooh.
a Sony ZV E10 Mark II, a GVM Lite with the softbox, the Rode Video Mic 2, which is a great microphone, as well as all of our recommended tripod and stuff. So this is, if you do anything, go to this, enter to win this. All the instructions are here. Very clear how to do that. You can do multiple entries, 26 days left. And so I just want to let everybody know, give them an update on that. And if you guys can share that doc for them too, I'll stop, like Nate, that you are pulling from, you can actually click that in the link in the description below as well and just save that during your shopping.
I love that.
So
I
go
will
to
even-
thinktechguide.com to sign up for those and just check out other videos on these cool deals because we got a bunch here and we're already an hour and 20 minutes in. We still have a little ways to go, but
yeah, we're cooking right now. We're moving to the
so many cool
hard
deals.
drives section. And again,
Yes.
this document, if you guys want access to this exact document that we put together, me and Nate, our brains meshed and we created this wonderful doc for you guys. And all the links are in the YouTube description as well. But moving on to some hard drives, the Samsung T7. So why would you use an SSD, right? Well, you would use it for fast video editing, real-time editing workflow. You want to be working off of SSDs. And so a lot of people, when you're building out your computer systems, especially in the Mac ecosystem, sometimes you want to save money because those SSDs get so spendy, right? As soon as you're increasing your SSD size from, like a 512 to a 1 terabyte or a 2 terabyte internal drive, the subsequent pricing is just so much higher. So you could save money by purchasing a smaller SSD and then using external SSDs to do your editing workflow. So if you don't have the luxury of a huge internal SSD, this is a great route to go. And the T7 is a great option. And Samsung makes all sorts of, like, I think the T5 is another great. I think, are they on a T9 as well? Nate, do you know if they're on a T9?
Yeah, they have several different models, each range for like different speeds, but the T7, this speed rating, I mean, I have a few of these that I edit off of similar speeds, but Kyle here, talk to us about this wonderful drive.
Again, everything that we have on this list, they have curated. We actually use like this stuff. Like I've bought this stuff personally. I mean, we're talking about cloud lifters for the SM7B, the FET head, right? Even the tripod, the Ulanzi tripod with the, like I bought it all with my own money, but T7s,
look at those.
I have a bunch, right? So for instance, we just mentioned that M3 MacBook. It had 512 solid state.
Yeah, it's not going to be
storage,
enough.
right?
After a few projects, you're full.
You need this, and highly recommend. I edit right off of these when I was doing a lot of editing. It's great. So, and I also have the T9, so a little upgrade for myself.
Love it.
T9. So
what are the speeds for the
highly
T9?
recommend.
Do you know?
I don't. You can probably look it up on the Amazon page.
1,000,
Yeah, I'm sure.
2,000 or something. It might be twice as fast, but I think for most people, they're not really going to tell a difference too much.
Sure.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. So great deal. 2 terabytes, plenty of room. If you're doing YouTube, it's also nice just to kind of keep all your projects on a drive and organized. So
yep,
that is definitely nice.
I even store like different events that we've done just as backup.
I love it.
Like Grow with Video Live. What is this, day 3? Yep. So
yep, that's great. Well, so kind of a workflow thing that I do right now is we'll edit off of either internal SSD storage or external SSD storage. And then I will take those SSDs and then move them into long-term storage, which is slower storage and cheaper storage. And so that's our next item here is this Western Digital 20 terabyte external hard drive. So these are great for long-term storage. So, 20 terabytes, you could fill up 10 of those 2 terabyte drives. That's, I mean, for us, that would be months worth of production work that we could offload onto this for long-term backup storage solutions. And something you want to know with long-term storage too, a lot of people actually don't know this, is it's actually really important to turn on your drives every once in a while. So if you're going to move, like if you're going to have a drive like this and you fill it up to 20 terabytes or 19 terabytes, you don't want to just leave that drive for 14 years in a closet, because most likely it will never turn on again. It's actually important to turn those drives on. Some people even turn their drives on like once a year, and they just set it to like maybe Cyber Week. It's like, oh, it's time to turn on the drives. I know that's such a weird thing, but we would do that. It's important to do that in any sort of like corporate work environment, professional production environment, or otherwise you run the risk of losing your data long term. So you want to keep these drives healthy, monitor the health, turn them on, click around some files, move things around a little bit. So that's long-term storage solution. It's way cheaper than buying SSDs as your long-term storage. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. Any thoughts?
I do want to address. Oh, well, yeah, absolutely. I think it's smart to have both rather than just picking one or the other.
Yeah.
But Cyber Monday, Black Friday are always great times to buy storage. So this would be the time to make some of those investments and make sure that you don't lose things, because that could end up costing more time and money versus just proper storage.
Yeah.
But I do want to address a question here in the chat. We have, you guys think the FX30 will be on sale on Black Friday? And what lenses do you work for studio? We've actually covered all those things. The FX30 is $200 off right now, which you can pick up. And we also have some lenses we recommended, such as the Sigma 18-50 2.8, also on sale. So you can rewind the live stream or just check out the links in the description.
Yep. Well, and for that second half of his question there, thinking about BMX, if you're shooting subjects that are further away, like I'm trying to understand the question, if it's like the subject is 50 feet away or the BMX riders are going 50 feet in the air. Regardless, if they're further away from you, like a lens like the 18-50 might not be the best solution. So you might
not
need
be
to
tight enough. So you might need something a little bit tighter end. And I think, well, I don't know if there's any sales for them, but you could get something like the Tamron 70-180.
Yes,
which is a tighter focal length and it's pretty affordable for what you're getting. I'd
look at Tamron and Sigma and their versions of like the 70-200 range. So for Tamron, it's 70-180. There's even like some 70-300s that are more budget, depending on what system you're on, like Nikon, Canon, Sigma. They have some different, like more budget 70-300 range lenses. So it just depends on the budget you're working with, but you're going to want something with a further focal length so that you're able to more isolate your subject a little bit better. What do we got, Kyle?
Yeah, I will say, like, this is the Tamron 35-150. So it gets pretty wide and it can zoom in pretty good. I love, this is my running gun, right? So I do a lot of like live streaming, shooting like live concerts. So I'm like in the back of a big room. So I want to get close up shots to like whoever's leading or an instrument. This lets me go from 35-150. So it's very versatile, but I don't know, you might want something more zoom than that potentially.
Yeah.
But then you're gonna get pretty expensive once you get into further zoom.
It's true. But it also depends on if you're on APS-C, then you have a 1.5 times crop factor added to that. So
you'll get a little bit more out of this.
Exactly. Like a 100 millimeters would be 150 millimeters. So, you know, it depends.
It'd be
on
like a 50 to 250 or something equivalent for APS-C.
Yeah.
But anyways, I highly recommend this lens, the 35-150. So just want to throw that out there, give some value.
Appreciate you, Kyle. Always hopping in with the wisdom. Okay. Nate,
shall we move on to the next section here? We got headphones and whatnot, audio stuff.
Yep.
We got the Sony WH-1000s. These are just wireless cancellation headphones. Craig, I believe you linked this.
I did link this. I don't have these. I think Kyle might have them. Do you have these, Kyle? If you
okay. So I have probably a version that's prior to this. Amazing headphones. I love them. I like them a lot. I actually gave them as a gift because I got the Apple Maxes, right, from like as a gift as well. And so I re-gifted them to one of my friends, and like probably a couple months later, he's like, by the way, those headphones are like my favorite things. I use them all the time. It's like the greatest headphones I've ever had. So I'm sure these are just as good.
I know. I want these. I linked them there, Nate, because I want them personally. So
there we go.
this, like I want.
That's
these
the reason.
Yeah, I've
We
heard
get
nothing
it.
but good things.
He's sending some subliminal cues to us.
Gift
I
ideas.
love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
cool.
Maybe
If your
Sony will
wife
hook us
pops
up one
on,
day.
she knows now. So they come in different colors. She can get one too. His
Oh
and
yeah, what's
hers.
my favorite color? I like that. White's
Yeah.
kind of icy. Look at that. Silver.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. I
Very
respect
cool.
it.
We
Okay.
also have AirPods Pro 2, which I'm using right now. These are pretty great noise cancellation as well, but these are things that you just use every day. So make a great gift for someone if you're not sure what to give them. These come in useful and handy, and they're 30% off at the moment. And dude, this also has the USB-C charging case, so pretty great. And then
Great gift
quickly here,
idea.
we'll just go through Beats
Yep.
Solo,
It's just a great
50%
deal.
off.
Yep.
50% off, and then Bose also Quiet Comfort, 24 hours of battery life for nearly
That's actually a
50% off
crazy
as
deal.
well.
43% off. I have the Quiet Comfort 35s, and I think they've kind of consolidated their lineup to just be more. They've kind of removed some of the numbers, so they're more top tier premium headphones for under $200 is kind of crazy. And I use those often if I'm editing in an airport or
Nice.
something. I'll bring these as my either the AirPods Pro or these is what I'm using, and I carry both when I'm traveling. And I love the Quiet Comforts, very comfortable experience. But I kind of want to try the Sonys, so there's that.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Well, let's take us into the next section. We have
Yep. So we're looking at a couple mouse options.
Mises.
Mises. Okay. So this is the more compact version of the MX series. So this is the MX Anywhere 3S compact wireless mouse. And so I don't have this one. I do have the MX Master 3, which we'll talk about in just a second. But a lot of people like a more compact ergonomic experience, a more understated, low profile mouse. So we love Logitech mice here. I think I'm sure Kyle uses it. I know Sean uses the MX Master 3. So if you want something that's more compact, this is what you would go for. But this one in particular, the MX Master 3S for Mac, that's the mouse that I'm using right now. And I think I bought it for $100 and it's on sale for $85. So a pretty good Black Friday deal. And ergonomics are important. If you work at a desk. Oh, Nate, you have it too? Come on.
We are using it. Kyle is holding his up.
Oh my goodness. Mine is
it's the one to get.
Wait.
Hold it up for the chat.
Let's go.
Mine's
Dude,
a little old
seriously?
and run out, so I might need to maybe
Seriously though, if you're on your computer a lot, especially as an editor, I remember using the Magic Mouse. Oh my gosh. I would get cramps in my hand. It was the worst. So I have had no problems ever since switching to this. So
dude, I'm low-key the only person that I've ever met that loves the Magic Mouse.
Quick, get him off the stream. Just kidding. Okay.
He's fired. You're out of here.
No, but there is a reason why I bought the MX. So none of us, this is no collusion here. Like we didn't plan this. We all just happen to have the MX Master.
No, seriously.
In the
I've been looking at the doc while you guys have been telling it, and if it sounds like I'm out of breath when I get on screen, it's because I'm running and grabbing the item and then coming back, and I'm like, I have this too. So,
that is amazing. Okay, well, we have like only a couple more items, I think, Nate.
Yeah, we'll round it off with some just other peripherals, things for your desk. I mean, obviously that mouse, like we're talking about ergonomics, your health, time investment. If you are working at your desk a lot, a pair of studio monitors, maybe you don't want to wear headphones all the time. I have the same brand. I believe it's the same model, the 3.5s, but this is 33% off, $100. If you grab the Mac Mini, grab these studio, monitors, and it's so nice just to be able to hear everything in your video. If you're trying to do sound design or listening, it's good to have a good set of speakers. And then too, like you're watching movies or just enjoying, it's so nice to have high quality studio monitors.
Yep, absolutely. I think I have these exact ones. So yeah, I do.
Yeah, mine doesn't look the same at the bottom, but it is the same model. I think mine's the Bluetooth. That's why.
Oh, interesting.
Bluetooth, so you can connect your phone to it.
Oh, that's cool. That's super cool. Can you also wire them in too? Like, it's both.
Yeah, they're wired in, and then you can just connect your phone via Bluetooth to it anytime.
Yep. Anytime I'm working on the sound aspect of a video, I like to run it through multiple checks. So I listen off of my phone speakers. I listen off of headphones, and I listen off of studio monitors, and you can kind of gauge like where some of the problems might be in your sound editing if you do different variations. So it's great to have a kit like
I
that.
do have a question. Can we place these on stands? Yes, you can. I
Yes, you
have
can.
mine. I don't know what they're called, but they kind of lift them up. They look like they look like little wedges. They just prop them up to the right angle.
I think they're
for
called
me.
wedges. Yeah.
They are.
Yeah, I think they are called
Little
wedges. And I have mine lifted up too. And I think mine
Nice.
are like a 2-inch wedge, and it sits nicely on the platform. I'm gonna see if I can add those wedges to. Oh wait, we're doing
Well,
this
these are
real time. Look
foam
at these.
ones.
Yeah, yeah.
Mine's like a
Look,
silicone
me too.
or something.
So these are like
There
these
he
are
is.
the
There
these
it
are the
is.
wedges that you can get.
Kyle, I have those exact ones.
Yeah,
I think.
who,
Yep.
who made them?
I don't
Audio
know.
Engine. So I got these from Audio Engine.
have
They're
the
made
same
for
ones.
smaller speakers than I have. I have Yamaha HS5s, but like they just fit and work well. So something
Yep.
easy to use.
That's sick.
No problem.
Okay.
Well, now let's move on to a little monitor stand riser. So if you have either multiple monitors or a monitor, it's kind of nice to be able to just put things underneath your little shelf, books, notepads, pens, a laptop, kind of raise up your monitor to appropriate height. Again,
This is
ergonomics are
hilarious.
key.
I have it. I have that exact one.
There you
That
go.
exact one.
Yeah.
Dude.
So look here. Let me. Here I have a video. Hold on.
So we didn't really find these. We just scored through Kyle's.
Yeah, they went through my closet.
wardrobe,
So watch. This is what it
and we're
looks
like,
like
"This is a
before and
good deal."
after. This is the desk setup that I did.
Oh,
So
look at
yeah,
that,
look at that.
dude.
So it's a lot cheaper than like the Grove made one, which is kind of popular. But I mean, it looks the same, gets the job done, super cheap, and it just gets things off your desk to make it more organized. Highly recommend.
That's fire. I love it.
There we
And
go,
then
folks.
we have one more item, right, Nate? And that brings us to the
Yeah.
end.
So again, we're talking about ergonomics, sit stand desks. This is, I have multiple reasons why you should get this. Number one, if you're at your desk all day, it's nice to be able to stand up. Sometimes to stand during our Zoom meetings, when we have standing meetings, pun intended. But then, yeah, it's motorized, plenty of workspace. You can get different sizes as well as colors. But as you can see right here, I use it. We use all this stuff. I like the white one because it kind of like reflects the light on me, and
It's like a
you can
fill
use
light.
this to break down. Oh, so yeah, quickly on screen, I built an entire YouTube studio using a
Sneak
desk
peek,
like this.
this is coming out
Yeah, you
Monday.
guys get it behind the scenes. You
This
guys
isn't Frame.io right now, but
yeah.
Look at that.
But yeah, you can build a whole studio based off of a little motorized desk like this. You can throw on wheels. But yeah, right now it's 30% off plus a $16 coupon, folks. So $120. And if you want to hop on the train for building your own studio on a desk, this would be what I would get. And it's so nice. There's even like little things like a headphone holder. Again, different colors, different sizes. But honestly, this is just a super great way to improve your workflow, not only for editing, but also for shooting content, whether it be at a desk or just even using it for a little B-roll or whatever your needs are.
I love it, Nate. Well, my goodness, that brings us to the
What
end.
a stream.
What
Let's
a
quickly
stream.
just remind people that if you want to find more deals, you can always go to thinktechguide.com. This is a list of all of our other deals, but also videos of things that we have made on some of these. So if you ever got lost and you want to check out resources, go to thinktechguide.com or thinktechguide.com.
Yep.
And then you could also potentially win a camera. So if
Yes.
you're interested in that, go ahead and check out thinktechguide.com.
Yep. Enter to win. And then this document that Nate and I were working through this whole time is available in the description of the YouTube video. And we'll make sure that we keep that up to date too. With if there's any adjustments or if things go out of stock, we'll be trying to monitor that real time so that we can adjust it as needed. So thank you so much, guys. I think we answered most of the questions. I'm going to skim through one more time to make sure we didn't miss any questions. Can you do the same, Nate, just while we're still here? I mean, there's 148 people that might have a question or two. Yeah, I mean,
Patrick asks, I literally bought the Flexi Spot this morning in white. Perfect. Any deals on desk mats? Yeah.
Ooh,
I don't know in particular. Maybe I can do it
can you pull?
live.
Yeah, maybe do that live. Pull up the one that you. I love the one that you use. It's like a
Um,
two-sided, two different
right.
colors.
I forget which model mine is, but I can actually just go to YouTube and sorry, I'm self-promoting my channel, but I'm going to click a link. That's why.
Nate's film tutorials.
Here we go.
There
This
he is.
one. And we'll drop down to the vinyl desk mat. Boom. So these are super cool because you can, these are colored onto both sides. So they're currently not on a Black Friday deal, but potentially they could be. But even so, they're cheap enough at $16. And they have colors on both sides. So you can do, I have the orange and green one. I also have like a blue and a gray. But what's so cool about this is, yes, I like the white surface, but sometimes it can feel kind of bland. So adding some energy with some colors, a whole range of them. And these are really nice too because they're waterproof. So if you spill something on them accidentally, they just wipe right off. A bunch of different options. So you can really go crazy with different colors. And also, I believe this brand doesn't have like a logo on the mat. Some of them like have a logo printed in, and that's kind of a bummer if you're trying to film.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
these ones don't have that, which is so nice.
Love it.
We have a
There's
few
a couple
more
more- yeah, a
comments
couple more questions.
highlighted here. Craig, if you want to tackle this, how do you feel
Yeah.
about the R50?
Man, the R50. So in a lot of ways, the R50 is great. It's, in my opinion, it's Canon's best entry level camera in terms of like if you compete it against the R100, and I know Nate just did a video too about the R100. The R100 is decent for photos, but for video, in a lot of ways, it's not really usable. So the R50, I'd say, is Canon's entry level video hybrid camera. The problem that I personally have with the R50 is I mean, some people might like this, but it's really compact. And I don't even have the biggest hands in the world. But when I use that camera, it just feels like not the best in my hand. But the image quality is good. The photo quality is really good as well. And you can shoot in 10-bit color if you shoot in like a weird, like I think it's called HDR PQ mode, allows you to shoot in 10-bit, which is just going to give you better video. I mean, video overall quality, but also color quality is a big thing. It's going to retain higher quality colors. That's the camera right there, Nate. We can kind of show it off to the people. It's got the
Yeah,
fully
you're
flip out
definitely
screen.
right. It's very small, like my pinky can barely hang on to it. So
Yeah,
you do have to be, you know, I
and
mean,
that's where
I'm pretty tall dude, so I probably have large hands either way.
yep,
But it is good because you can travel with it and kind of pack it away.
yep.
And then you can get the one with the kit lens and with a body only, and choose your own lens later.
Yep.
And then the kit lens pops out like that.
And we
So it's
just
pretty
did
cool.
we just did a review in the last maybe 2 weeks about the best cameras for under $1,000, and we feature the R50 in that video, and we also feature the Canon R10. And the R10 in a lot of ways is just, it's a little bit beefier. It's like a big brother to the R50. And I like the R10, even though it's actually older. It was released before the R50, so it's a little bit older. But I like the R10 personally. I'm not necessarily a Canon shooter. We have Canon cameras in studio with us. We like to test Nikon, Canon, Fuji, all of the, the brands, not just Sony. I personally shoot on Sony. So, but if I was in the Canon ecosystem, most likely I would recommend the R50 first. But if somebody has a little bit more money to spend, I would go for the R10 instead. Yeah.
Love that.
Great question.
Well, I
Thanks
quickly
for that.
want to address, we got a super chat. Thank you always for the helpful videos. I appreciate. We do really appreciate that. And we're here to help along the way, whether it's through providing deals or tutorials. So we deeply appreciate that. Another question here is thoughts on the Viltrox 20mm for overhead shots. So Craig, I know you personally have used this.
Yeah, tell me,
Go
Nate,
ahead.
what do you think about it?
I would say, like, for if you're trying to build a setup like mine, it is nice to be able to zoom in case you want to change your shot versus trying to like manipulate the camera arm. But if you are totally fine with having a fixed angle, and just mounting it right. It could totally work. It's
Yeah.
nice and bright, small and compact, which is kind of important when you're building out an overhead rig. But I would opt for having the flexibility with a zoom lens.
Yep. I think for me, that's the big thing, is like the functionality aspect of a prime lens can get tricky. Now, image quality wise, to answer your question, it's going to look totally fine. It's going to look good. You just have to think about the fact that you're going to have to either raise your table up or down to get the correct composition, or your tabletop tripod needs to be able to easily raise up and down quickly. So if you have a solution for that, I think it's totally fine. Otherwise, when I have my overhead rig here in the studio, I'm always putting a zoom lens on it so I can quickly recompose. And Nate does the same thing. So that's just something you want to consider. If you have a solution, then it would be totally fine.
We got another question here. What rig do you recommend for the Sony a6400, considering I shoot sports and have no IBIS? What would you recommend to combat micro jitters as best as possible?
Sick.
Great question. What do you think?
Yeah. Man, okay, so a6400, we got the flip up screen, we got the older battery, we got 4K video, I think up to 30 frames per second, maybe some rolling shutter issues, but for the most part, it's an outstanding camera. I mean, that camera is still a great option for people, especially if you can buy it used for around maybe $600, $620, on Marketplace or something. I think it's a great option. But in terms of rigging it up, I'm curious what kind of sports you shoot, because I've been an athlete my whole life. I played baseball, basketball, football. Those are very different situations, and I would recommend a different rig depending on what you shoot. But if you can get it on a gimbal, that would be best. There's DJI makes great gimbals. The company Zhiyun or Zhuin, depending on how you say it, also is great. But I'd say DJI, they have like maybe the SC. I mean, that would definitely be let's see, the Ronin SC. Pop that up. So that gimbal would be great because it's affordable, and the a6400 is so lightweight that this should be totally fine. I mean, it's 22% off right now as well. So if you're filming, I'd put it on a gimbal first and foremost. And then also, I guess that would be the biggest factor, is just making sure.
Yeah, I mean, if you're doing anything telephoto, you're probably better off using a monopod or like a tripod, because then if it's on a tripod, it's going to be really stable at that point. But yeah, it depends on what types of sports you're shooting. I think this would be good for anything like wide angle to up to like 50 millimeter basketball mainly.
That's
I feel
great.
like you would be both a little bit wider, but mostly tight, I think. What do you think?
Yeah. For basketball too, man. Oh, basketball is so fun. It's so high energy. It's so fast paced. And so you want to consider that for your rig. Something you could do is, the more weight you can add to your handheld rig, the better. That's going to help a lot. So if you can add weight to your camera, add a monitor, add a cage. So put a cage on that, put maybe we mentioned this mount right here, the small rig monitor mount. Like, yes, this is perfect. Nate's like real time pulling this up. The more weight you can add, something like the ICANN STR right there, that's a good example of the kind of rig I'd imagine you would want to build.
What I would say too to that is, like you're saying, if it's basketball, like it would make sense for a handheld setup because you need to move quickly. So if you put on one of those V-mount batteries on the back here, clicked on the video. Let me go back here just so we can see it. Put a V-mount battery, that's going to add some weight. Put on a lens, and hopefully it has image stabilization, and then a top handle and monitor. That's going to help significantly stabilize things and get a much less. Yeah, again, you're facing the micro jitters versus having a shot that's still handheld, but more,
if he's using the 6400, Nate, what's the next body that would have in-body stabilization?
I'd probably get the A6700, which is on sale.
So yeah, because the question comes down to what's the best way to spend money, and maybe to save up for a new body, because you could get a new lens, but in-body stabilization is going to be like really strong if this is something that you're wanting to grow into and continue doing this. And so that's something to look out for. It's like maybe you save up for you sell your body and then save up for a new 6700 or a used one. would be an option too.
Yeah, what is
Yeah,
the
let's look.
A6700 this holiday
Yeah.
season?
1400, which I don't think it's on sale.
I think that's retail. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
retail.
FX30 is the same exact thing, but more for
It's gonna be a lot
video.
more expensive. Yeah.
But it's
Well,
a
it's
little
on
bit
sale,
more.
$200 off right now. So
Could be worth it. $200 extra just to have that form factor.
Yeah, you want to
Yeah.
weigh your options, right? Like,
Yeah.
all right, sorry, butting in. Leaving
that's
there.
great.
Yeah, so that's a good point. Really, yeah. Whether it's adding more weight to a handheld rig, which is probably what I would end up doing for sports and basketball, but versus a gimbal, like I feel like you would lose some shots, if that makes sense, because you're operating something versus just
Yep.
being handheld.
Yep.
We have another question here. What zoom lens would you recommend for the Sony A7C II? Consider being compact, also prioritizing video. You have plenty of options because that is a full frame sensor. It really depends on how much zoom range do you want. I know there's several, like the classic 24-70 Sony.
Mhm.
But there's different brands, right? There's Sigma, there's Tamron. Yeah, because you could get the best one, 24-70 Mark II, but it's pretty
Sheesh.
expensive. But the Sony, for the Sigma one, the Mark II is, half the cost of that. So you can definitely
The
get some,
Tamron.
depending,
Show that Tamron right there. Click on that. Click into it.
28-75. Yeah.
Yeah, this lens has been around for several years, but it's still a really good lens for $700. It's 22% off right now too. I mean, that's like the used
That's
price.
true.
Usually used,
Yeah.
you can find them for 700. So that's, I mean,
This
all
is a
things
great one.
considered.
I had the Mark I, which could be even cheaper. But then you got to consider like how much do you want to zoom in? This is 75 versus 24-70. There's a 24-105. Actually, here's a great one.
Dude,
Sigma,
I love the 24.
28-105. Costs $1,500, but you just get more range. So those are plenty of different options. Again, this is a good wide to tight. There's also like a 70-200 for tighter focal lengths. If I had to choose one, general all-purpose, it would be like that 24-70, and you can choose which brand you want, but
Yeah.
Tamron is pretty solid. I think Sigma is probably a little bit better in terms of sharpness. And then, I mean, if you have money to burn, the Sony, definitely.
Yeah. Great question.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I think we have one more that was way up here. Is it possible to edit from an SSD, or the media need to be downloaded to the computer? Craig, take that one away.
Absolutely possible to edit from an SSD. So you just want to make sure, there's actually different schools of thought for this about where you should let your editing project file live. Some people think you should let the project file live on the desktop, and some people think you should let the project file live on the SSD. So just depends on what you think. I typically keep my entire project on one location. So if I'm editing, if all my video footage is on the SSD, then my project file is on there, my B-roll, my project assets, like graphics, everything is going to be on that SSD. And then what's really nice is as soon as I eject that SSD, I know the entire project is right there, and I can move it from computer to computer, or I can offload that to a long-term storage solution. So yes, SSDs, they're great for editing from, and long-term storage or short-term storage solution, either way. Yeah, great question. Thanks for that.
I believe that is our last question. I guess there's one here. Planning on shooting the XT1 for photography. Do you suggest it? I'm not too familiar with that one.
Me
Fuji,
neither.
I know, makes great cameras and great color. I think the XT1 is a bit older. I think they're on a 5.
Yeah, it is a bit older
So
for
it probably
sure.
won't be on Amazon. XT1. I mean, you can't go wrong. Like I think what's most important is knowing how to use it. One thing you want to consider is the lens options. So Fuji, you're going to be stuck in that Fuji ecosystem with their lenses.
Yep.
Sony has the most broad range of different options you can choose from, as well as probably the L mount. Fuji is it's been around the block, so I wouldn't go. I don't think that would be a bad option by any means. You
I
just got to
think
kind of know what you're getting.
Yeah, I think Dark Angel, if you have bought the camera already, then use it, use what you have. If you're debating on multiple options, the question I would ask you is just think about the price point of what that might be. This camera was released back in, I believe, 2014, the XT1. So it's a pretty old camera at this point. For, you know, if it's on the used market for $400, $500, it opens you up to a lot of camera options. Even something like the original Sony a6000. It's a really good photo camera. And then that opens you up to the Sony ecosystem of lenses. And there's a ton of third-party support for Sony lenses that are really budget friendly, like the Viltrox 20mm that we recommended. So just really consider, you know, if you are working with a budget right now and you don't have the camera already, you could look at some other options too, for sure.
Let's see what this is on the used market. 500. Yeah. I think for photography, that's the key thing, is like this probably won't do great for video, but for photos, I mean, you could probably get better color going with that.
Yeah, over an old Sony like NEX
Yeah,
camera or
absolutely.
something like that. Great question. Cool. Okay.
That is our last question.
That is it. Okay. Well, again, if you guys want to visit thinktechguide.com, and Nate can maybe click that on the screen real quick so you can see where that's at. Visit thinktechguide.com for more of our pre-built kits. These are really helpful kits for podcasters or beginners or mobile phone creators. It'd be really helpful. But Nate, thanks so much for hopping on stream today. Kyle was on the back end too as our producer, making sure things were running smoothly, and he popped in a time or two as well. So thanks for that, Kyle. And we're excited about this Black Friday season. You might even see us tune in around, you know, Black Friday, Cyber Monday in particular. I know these deals start early, so that's why we're doing the stream earlier, but we might hop on again live closer to actual, you know, Thanksgiving, Black Friday day, Cyber Monday. So join us again and we'll update you with any other deals that we might have later down the road. So thanks, guys. We'll see you in the next one.